Hey guys, it's Katie. So I've been designing a pumpkin cane that I want to do, and I want to use this with my black lace one that I just made. One of these black lace ones. So I initially was going to use my Kato, but it's too crumbly, so I got it in a bag. I got the colors in a bag, so that way when I use them next time, they'll be ready. So all my Katos that I were going to use, it was a little too crumbly and I didn't want to deal with it. So I have my Primo book here, and we're going to grab some colors out of here. Now I definitely am going to want, we're going to do a couple of different Skinner blends. So I'm going to want some red, I know that. This is pomegranate. Crimson might actually work well, but, oh, I'm running out of orange, huh? So we might need some more red. Okay, we'll have to make an orange. So let me grab the rest of my red. I'm going to have to order some orange. Oh, sorry. Let me take out this crimson too, just in case if I'm making colors. I'll steal the rest of this orange as well. Guess I need to order more orange. Cadmium yellow, maybe. A little bit of that. And then I'll do the stem part later. I'm going to want some brown. Maybe the raw sienna rather than the burnt umber. So maybe some raw sienna. I'll grab one of these. Though I definitely got a small one. I probably won't need one of the big ones. Just a small one. Okay. And I also have some ecru and 1 pound block that I could use. Just throw that on the floor. Okay, so we have cad, Arzillion. I don't remember what I just said. Burnt sienna, maybe? I don't know. Yellow. So pretty much red, yellow, yellow, orange, Arzillion, and then some brown. So we're going to make a couple different Skinner blends. Now, if we're thinking of something round, looks like all I have round. I want my light source to come, not from the side, completely from the side. Now I can bring this down now, sorry. Okay, so I don't want my light source to come from straight on or completely for the side. I want it kind of in this range right here. So we're going to make 3 different Skinner blends. In my mind, that's the easiest way I see to do it, but if you have a better way, go for it. So this half will be 1 Skinner blend. The front one will be 1, and then these will be a darker Skinner blend. Okay? So the first Skinner blend is the light side. So the light side, I'm going to do some yellow, and I might even add some white into that. I don't have a lot of orange. I need more orange. Oh, excuse me, but I'm also out of yellow, so to make orange I need... I guess I have this pumpkin color. This souffle. Whatever, we'll use souffle. I'm making it work, guys. Making it work. I guess I didn't even check if I had enough coloring. I'm out of yellow, so I can't really make a great orange without yellow when I'm mixing red and yellow to make orange. So this I might use, so let's see. So the first blend on 1 half, we're going to do, let me save that. Let's do that. A little bit of red and some brown. Okay, so that's for this side of the pumpkin. The center, I'm going to want it fairly bright. We'll do that and that. Maybe just a little bit of red. I might add some white. I might add some white into this one. Let me grab. Where's my white? Because the other ones I'm going to do something else with the white. I'm just kind of laying it out so I know. Okay, so there's that blend. And then the other blend, the dark side, we'll do, got some of that pumpkin out. I don't know where the heck I just, oh, I threw the wrapper away. Let me set it there for now. So we'll do red, the pumpkin, maybe even a hair of the alizarin. Maybe less than that. Maybe a little alizarin. A little bit of the brown too. I feel like I will need some yellow. Hang on. Or let me grab my book back. All I have, I don't have the same, oh, yeah, I do. I have more cad yellow. Okay, and a little bit of cad yellow. Okay, so these are going to be my 3 blends. Okay, so let me get them all conditioned. And I know it's not a lot of clay. What the hell does this go to? Oh. Yeah, like that. Okay. So let me get them all conditioned, and I'm probably just going to do teardrop blends because it's such little amounts in some of these colors that for me that's easier. My hand is killing me too. When I was making those black lace ones last night, my thumb on this hand is just throbbing. I need to go to the chiropractor. So I'm going to roll these all into balls. They'll get conditioned even more when we do the Skinner blends, but I'm going to get them into balls, and then I'll show you quickly, and then you can see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to roll them all into a ball, and then I'm going to do the chop motion just to get a teardrop. Like that, okay? And that's what we're going to do for all of these color sets, and I'll show you before I blend them. Okay, so here are my 3 colors. This is for the left side, for the center, for the right side. Now these 2 are almost exactly identical, except for I ran out of orange, so I'm using the souffle pumpkin. But really, the only reason why I'm making 2 separate ones is because I think I'm going to set them up, at this point, I think I'm going to set them up differently when it comes to either doing a blended roll or a fan fold. I think I'm going to do them separately. So that's why I'm doing 2 different ones, just so I have more option later. So pretty much they're in a teardrop state right now, and I'm just going to flatten them off some, and then I'll take my roller and kind of roll it out a little bit just because it's too thick to get through my pasta machine. And then all of these I will blend up in the pasta machine, just doing a regular Skinner blend. And then if this doesn't work out, I'll tell you how I would have modified it, and I'll probably make myself another one, you know. So it happens where they don't always come out the way you plan, and this is the first time I've made a pumpkin cane, so I don't really know how this is going to come out at this point. I've kind of drawn pictures and I have an idea in my head, but look, yesterday it took me 3 tries to get the exact black lace cane I wanted. So this is try 1, try 2, try 3, and now I got the one right here that I want. But each one of these, this was my first one, and it's too dark. There's too much going on, and I reduced it too small. This was my second one, not enough going on. My third one. So it took me 3 black lace cane tries to get exactly what I wanted. So it may take me more than this. Okay, so I will run them through the machine. I'll put them right now, I'll put them through my thickest setting just to stretch it out. And there are a lot of Skinner blend and teardrop blend videos out there, so please check out other people's videos on those. So then you always want to have your stripes vertically away from you, not horizontally. Like this, not like this. You always want to have it vertically away from you, and then fold up. I did add a little souffle in there, that's what you're seeing, because I wanted to dull it down. I want this one to be the middle one, to be the brightest. You want to fold up so where you have one color touching the other. So like on this case it'd be the alizarin and the yellow touching itself. not folding it where they're horizontal and I have alizarin and yellow touching. So you always want the same color touching on the side. Like this. Okay. So I'm going to run this through until I get a blend I'm happy with, and all of our blends will be different because we'll all be happy with them at a different extent. I'll be back when I get all 3 of these blended. I'm almost done with my blend. I'm just listening to this music, but I added some more of the pumpkin into this because it was a little bright and I want the end ones not to be as bright. I wanted to dull it down a little bit. And I hate dealing with mixing colors, like mixing colors, so that's why I'm not mixing any colors. So I'm just adding in some different colors. Don't wanna think about it. Karaoke pocket, sing without. He's gone, and if I ever wanna be, I'ma need some whiskey glasses. I wanna see the truth. She's probably making out on a couch right now with someone new. I need some whiskey glasses. If I'm gonna make it through, every single I'm a national proof. Whiskey glasses. So it's just slightly making it darker. You can see it kind of in here. It's just toning it down a little bit. Knock 'em back, knock 'em back, knock 'em back. Never coming back. You see the streaks there? So this will gradually blend. I'll just run it through a few more times. I mean, you can make whatever colors you want and blend them however you want. Cause if she ain't ever coming back, I'm gonna need some whiskey glasses. Okay, so I'll work on that. This one I do want to leave pure because I want it to be the brightest, but we'll see when I get there. Okay. I actually like the streaking, so I think I'm going to leave that one like that. So that's our dark side. And then I'll blend up the light one. I'll be back. Okay, this last one, the pumpkin is going to be way too dark, so I wish I had some more of the Primo, but I don't. So I have this Kato, so I'm just going to stick a little bit of this Kato because even though it's crumbly, once it gets mixed in with the souffle, it'll be fine. And I just added conditioner to it, so I'm just going to add that on that strip and then work it in. That should make it a little more orange. Similar orange to the other orange I was working with. But this is the dark side, so it is going to be a little darker than the light side or the super light. So I'm just, you can see it start to mix in there. So I'm just going to mix that in, and I just blended this through just a couple of times, and then I was like, yeah, that might be too dark, that pumpkin. But yeah, definitely make your own oranges, make different colored blends, do whatever you want. Have fun with it, you know. I just don't tend to blend a lot of colors like separately. I've seen people take like squares and then blend and then mix them up and then do their Skinner blend. I just tend to modify it as I'm doing my Skinner blend. Throw a little of this in, throw a little of that in, just let it go and kind of see what happens while I'm doing it. And that's kind of like how I oil paint and everything too. I'll be like, oh, I got a pile of blue here. Oh, I want that a little more of this. And I'll add a little bit of that to that and, you know, see what I come up with for a color. And that's kind of how I do. I don't have a plan. I don't use color recipes. I mean, I use common color sense, like yellow and blue make green, you know what I mean? So I do kind of, you know, red and yellow make orange. So I do obviously have that basics, but I don't tend to follow like a specific color recipe. I just kind of throw in a little bit of whatever and see what comes out. And enjoy whatever I get from it, because that's the whole fun of it, you know, is just being creative. And it's hard to, I find it's too stiff to follow plain recipes. I'm not a person to do that, because that's not fun for me to go, oh, okay, I need 1 part of this and 2 parts of this. And maybe that's why I don't bake all the time, because it's just too much for me. I want to enjoy and just kind of let my creativity flow. And I'm hoping, I know a few people have learned that and are getting that from me, and just learning to be a little more free with their art and to experiment and kind of see what you come up with, because you may come up with some pretty cool things. And right here is getting a little too light for some reason. That's where the red was. So I might just add another little bit of red in here. Actually, wasn't that where the brown was? Yeah, that was where the brown was. And then the alizarin. So let me add a little bit more of this brown too. See, I just stick it in there and let it just kind of come together as I blend and see what I get off. Okay, I'm going to keep blending this up. I'll keep adding here or there for whatever my preference is, and then I'll show you what I come up with for this dark side, or dark side. Not really crazy dark, it's just going to be a slightly more shadowed side. So you can see that red right there that I just added start to come through. So I'm going to keep blending. You don't need to keep watching me blend, but I'm going to keep blending and I'll be back. Okay, so these are my 3 blends, which it doesn't look like, but this is one side, the center, the other side. I have a little bit of white and yellow mixed up that I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of red. That might even be too much. Just to tint that a hair. So I'll mix that through. And then that will be for highlights, because pumpkins are smooth, just like an apple. When you're painting like an apple or something, you would have a highlight. So we're going to attempt the same thing on a pumpkin or anything around grapes. They'll always have a highlight on them, and this is what we're going to insert in this highlight area. Now, I do keep forgetting to pause my videos, and they are getting long, and I know for some of you, you're going to hate that. But again, as I've said before, I don't like to keep anything out, because if someone needs it and I cut it out, they can't use it. If you don't need it, you can always fast forward it. You know what I mean? So I don't like to cut anything out. That said, I'm going to try to attempt to keep them a little shorter. I doubt that's going to happen. So let me finish mixing this up, and I will be back in a sec. Okay, so I think I have most everything. We'll do the stem later. So I know for the first one, or for the, when I say the first one, I need this guy right here, the center guy that's going to take the most focus. Wipe this up. Okay, for that one, I know I'm gonna do a blended roll. Now, some people call a blended roll a jelly roll. It's not a true jelly roll unless it like looks like this, and it's not a true bullseye unless this is a triangle, but unless it's like this. So when you're taking a Skinner blend and rolling it up, unless you're adding another color to it, that's what I call a blended roll, when you're taking a Skinner blend and rolling it up, okay? Just wanted to make that clear what I'm calling what. So what I'm going to do here is I want to make this a long strip. Let's do maybe this. So you can fold these over and then run it through your machine. I tend to cut it. For me, that's just easier. Pour me another round. Line 'em up and knock 'em down. I'll leave that right there. Squish that in a little bit. Okay, so now this is too thick. I'm going to try to flatten it out a little bit by just stretching it. You can also take your roller. Just kind of flatten it out to fit through your machine. And get this to the thinnest usable setting. And depending on the time of the year, your machine, many different factors, if you got a motor or not, that's going to vary. So I'm going to put it in my pasta to lengthen it, my pasta machine, from the red side to the yellow side. I usually do the dark color first. That way if I have any sludge in my pasta machine, hopefully it sticks to this end and not to that end. So I'm going to lengthen this guy. So I got mine to setting 6 on my Atlas, and we're going to do a blended roll. And this one is going to be on the inside. I want the light. Now I'm going to roll it a couple of times, and then this one won't have a lot of highlight, but I'm going to add a little highlight just by adding a little sausage. Now I am going to flatten the ends of the sausage. I know you can't see that, but I just rolled a little sausage and I'm flattening the ends so it tapers it. Now this is probably going to be too long. Well, for this one let me add white on this one. Just the tint of my fingers with the ink on it, or with the clay on it, should tint it a little bit. Because this one I added the white the first time. So I'm rolling it up. I'm going to pat the end, so that way the middle's fatter. I'm just going to set this in here. We'll see what this gets, what this creates for us. I want it to be kind of in the middle of my blend. God, my wrist, my thumb and my wrist hurt. And it's on my left hand too, which is weird. Usually it's my right hand. The hand I work with all day. And then just kind of get that in there. That will kind of be in the center of our pumpkin. So I would assume it's like a lobe of the pumpkin, how it fused together, just like teeth. That's how you have those cuss tips on your teeth, because when they formed, they had lobes. They formed in multiple parts, and that's where you get your cuss tips from, the bumps on your teeth. So I assume that these guys are the same thing. You know what? Maybe I'll just cut that stuff off. Why not? Okay. So that's that guy. That's our center. Okay. Now on our light side, this is our light side blend. We're going to do the same thing, get it into a long strip. So again, I'm going to cut into sections. And usually I do the cut against the cut. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect. You can measure if you want, but you don't need to. Putting the cut against the cut's easier to see. Some people fold. Again, I'm not a big fan of the fold, just because I can't tell where I'm laying apart on top of each other. That's my type A coming out. And I am very type A, but in clay I'm really not. It's weird. I just like to experiment with it. And this part I'll just kind of squish in. So again, we're going to flatten this out. And I'll be back when I have this into a long strip, and I'll show you what we'll do with this one. Okay, so this one again's on setting 6. And I'm going to fan fold this one. And again, when I get a little bit in, what I'll do, and it's hard when it's long like this, when I get a little bit in, what I'll do is I'll add a highlight. Yeah, maybe right there. So I'm going to do another one, but yeah, maybe right here. We'll just stick it in. Somewhere like that. And it doesn't matter what side you start on, you just want to put your highlight on the light side. But when you're doing a fan fold or concertinaing it, you're going to have one color on one end and one color on the other end, so it doesn't really matter on what end you start. And your blend will get a little skinnier, your long strip, just because of the weight of the clay when it's running through the machine. The middle of it tends to get a little thinner, but again, that's fine. Don't panic about stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to keep fan folding this, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so that one's done, so I'm just going to kind of squish it all in together. So this is our light side. Not as light as the center, but lighter than the other side. Is that my highlight? Did it somehow end up on the outside? How the hell would that have happened? Oh well. Not overly worried. I don't think it is. I think it might just be the end of my thing, but it's not. That's my highlight. Why did it end up on the outside? I folded a couple times, didn't I? Whatever. Okay. I can always put one in there. Okay, same thing with this one. I'm going to cut it in long strips, and I think I'm going to fan fold this one as well. So let me do this as well. And you know what I would do? Okay, let's say that is my highlight on the outside. Let's show you how to fix it. Cut down in where you want your highlight. Take a piece of your light. We're going to stick it in there. Just like that. But I actually, do I want it to go lengthwise? Hang on, let me think about this for a second. Let me peel that off. So if this is going to be my pumpkin, right, and this is going to be the shape of my pumpkin, and these are going to be facing this way, and if I shape it like this, I want it to go this way. So I want it to go the opposite way, actually. Like this. Yeah, I want it to go like that. Let me do the same thing with this last one, and I will be back. Okay, so now we have our 3 blends here, and I am going to need some dark, so this kind of dark. So I'm going to take some brown, I think that was some red, and then some alizarin. So I want this, I just need a very thin strip. I probably need more than what I got here. That we're going to use to separate our segment with, pretty much all our segments with. Might make another slightly lighter one afterwards to go around this guy, but that might be dark enough with the red on the outside. So let me blend this up, and then I will be back when that's done. It's not quite dark enough for the ends here, so I'm going to add a little bit of black in there. Maybe I need a little more brown too, because it's a little red. So I'm going to blend that up. Just wanted to show you that. Okay, so that's what I have. It's a little darker than this, but not too much. And it's rolled out on a number 7 on my pasta machine on my Atlas 150, so it's super, super thin. That's all I want. Now we need to get designing our segments is what I'm going to call them. Okay, so this blend is going to be the sides, these ones right here. So I need to elongate this whole blend, okay? So by bringing it, making it skinnier this way, we're probably going to have to cut some out of this too, because I need to get at least 2 out of this. And you can decide on what pumpkin you, what type of pumpkin you want to make. If you want to make a short fat one, a long skinny one, whatever you want to do. I don't care that I got that little piece here. It ain't gonna bother anything. So I'm gonna cut this in 2 because I need 2 of them. Okay. And I can also add my highlight in a little bit too. Like that. Like that. Okay. This one we need to make a little longer as well. Now I have different amounts of clay in each, so this will really depend on how tall I can get this one. I might have to cut some of this off. So I want to kind of make a long skinny pumpkin. So make this kind of pointed at the end. Make sure it looks the same on all sides. If one spot's dull like that, flatter, when you cut these slices out of here, it's not going to be as pointy. So definitely look at it from the side. My dog's snoring. Oh, he's growling in his sleep. So that's that one, even though it's quite tall, that's okay. That's that one. So what we'll do, I'm not going to cut it yet, not until I'm positive I have what I need. And then these ones are going to go like this. So again, needs to be longer, skinnier. So right now I'm just getting my general shape. These ones will go this way. Well, this way. Okay, so let me cut this one in half too. See that highlight well. This highlight I'm going to have to re-add because I did it the wrong way, I think. That's okay. I'll make it work. So if you think about these like this, think about these more like this. Okay. So that's a basic shape of our pumpkin. Make this a little shorter. I want him a little fatter. He will go in there. So these ones are a little long, which is fine because we're going to need some more blend. So cut a little bit off of that one. And again, we can refine things. A little bit off of that one. These ones too. Oh, there's the highlight. So we'll use these for the ones in the back that aren't that detailed, but they're in the back. And these ones are still a little tall, but again, I can take some height off. So let me roughly cut this guy to the tallest one. Well, let me make him a little fatter actually. Let me shrink him down before I cut him. Because I want him to be the focus because he's the front one. I know I'm working on the edge here, but it's easier for me because... Okay. Okay. So now we got our basic setup for our pumpkins. Now, before I really shape it, I'm going to add the highlight in here again. It's not quite where I want it. Because you see where that one is? I kind of like it there. I want it a little wider than that. And we're going to get distortion when we reduce this, so I'm not worried about the end right now. And they're all going to be different, you know, don't make them see that one's right there. I put it the wrong way, so it's really not going to show up when we slice it this way, not really. But again, I'm not quite worried about it. Whatever it is, what it is. Now we need to begin shaping, but before I do, I think it'll be easier to put a layer of this dark on this side while it's still quite square. So all I'll do, and I think I'm just going to put it on the two outside ones. God, my thumb really hurts when I go to grab anything. Keep saying I need to take some ibuprofen, but I still haven't, but I need to. Luckily, it's the holiday weekend, and so I can have a couple days to rest it before I start doing cleanings again. Which, if my teachers ever heard me call an oral prophylaxis a cleaning, they would hate me. We do not clean teeth, we are not maids, we do your dental hygiene debridement or your oral prophylaxis. But either way, before I start those on Monday, my hand better feel better. Because doing that for 12 hours will really hurt, pinching my mirror in my hand. That's my mirror hand too, which is weird. It's not my actual working hand. I'm just adding that little layer of separation dark. use my other blades more. This one has built-in, this is the Kato one, has built-in handles, which are kind of a pain in the butt. Yes, it makes it easier to tell which side's which. And on my blade, I did put clay, like some people say you should make clay handles. I did put them, but I find they get in my way. So that's why I don't have them on. I took them off. Plus they made handles to come with it, but I don't like it. I could put a piece of tape on it. That might actually work. But I still gotta look at it. But these handles that stick out kind of bug me. I never work on thin settings like this, I really don't. Okay. Now we just need to begin shaping. Ouch. I can't get my thumb to crack. That's what needs to crack, or my wrist, but I can't get it to. Now we need to begin shaping all of these. And they might be too fat, so if I elongate it, I can cut some more off the bottom. Because I want this a longer, skinnier pumpkin. This guy's going to even be skinnier than this guy because he's going around the corner. It's going around the corner. It needs to be slightly skinnier than the other one. And this is just how I'm going about it. You guys can go about this any way you want. Really, truly. This is just how I'm picturing it. That's actually a little too short. In my head, this is how I'm picturing putting it together. And this is the first time I put it together. So afterwards I might go, yeah, no, that would have been easier to do this. That would have been easier to do that. Okay, so then because they're all really, really tall, let's cut some of it off. Where's my other blade? Don't throw those away or mix those up yet, because we're going to use some of those. Okay, so then we're going to make the end. We may cut some more off. We're going to make the ends pointier. Now that's some distortion there, but cut that off. And we're just going to shape our segments pretty much. Just cutting off whatever I don't need. I did want him kind of a longer, skinnier pumpkin, which is like that. And I have enough other colors that I could use this for a center on another one. Cut off the lights, cut off the darks, and make a whole new blends out of it and make another one. I think I want him kind of this shape. Remember, they're organic. Yep, I like that shape. Yep. Now, I was wondering if I took another one, kind of disappeared it to make it look like it was in the back. Let me see if I take a piece of this. Make it really, really small. Make the end crazy, crazy pointy. And then set it on there. Will that, when I cut that, look like it's in the background? No, I don't think it will. I think I'll just leave it like that. And we gotta make a stem. So again, I'll keep all these colors. What I'll probably do is take the light side like this, cut it off, mix all the light side up, all the light stuff up, mix the dark stuff up, and then make a small one. You know what I mean? You could even cut the yellow off if you want. What I might do with some of this dark, maybe take some dark, a thin layer, and wrap it up around. Nah, I don't want to do that. Okay, let me pick this stuff up, and then I will be back when I get all my stem stuff out and ready to go. And we'll create a stem, and then we'll backfill, and then we'll be done with our little pumpkin, and we'll see how it will turn out. So this was the light colors I mixed up. This was the dark, and then I'm going to add some yellow, and I'm going to make myself another little one. Because why not, right? But I'm not going to really show it to you. I just wanted to show you what the colors looked like there. And I'll blend all of these up. Like that. There's that blend, so I'm cutting a little of this dark side off. I'm going to add it to a little bit of this here, and that way I have some dark that I can add to one of my fan folds that should hopefully blend fairly easily into that fan fold, so I can have a dark side on one of them. So then it will just be a continuation of this on the shadowed side of the pumpkin. Just a little skinny blend, like that. See, and then that should continue on from that. So when I make this a long strip and do one side of the pumpkin, like this side in a fan fold, and then do that side in a fan fold, I'll just add that into the dark side fan fold on the end. I got the 2 long strips, and I'm going to fan fold this one as well, and that way I can apply it to my dark side ones when I'm ready to. So if you, just like adding, if you don't have enough white and you would add like a white chunk of white at the end, I'm going to do this with a portion of this fan folded long strip that I have. When I cut it into segments, I'll just add this to 2 of the segments. And then it should blend nicely with the end of that. See? Same color. So I'm going to fan fold this one. Okay. So there's my first one. There's the one I made from the scrap. Pretty easy. And what I'll do is I'll get some stuff out and we'll start the stems. Okay, so now that my 2 pumpkins are done, and they're mainly made out of Primo, I'm going to use souffle for the stem. I don't need a lot, but I'm going to use souffle. Maybe that will give it a little suede-y texture, like kind of woody stems would be. I don't know. So that's, I don't know, I just got the sample kit. I don't know what color that is. Oh, I think it's the jade. Yeah, I think that's the jade. And then I'm going to use some pistachio. Which I have some right here. I'll use some pistachio. And I think the brown color is called Cowboy or something like, yeah, Cowboy. I'll use some of this, but I don't want a lot of this. I think the main Skinner blend I want is that, and then I'll add some of that later. Now what I'm also wondering is, do I want to add a little white into it? Like a little white? Maybe a little of this yellow? Well, maybe if I mix this yellow with white and then mix that with it. I don't know. Just playing with color. Why not? Just enjoy the fun of it. This was that highlight color. Then the pistachio. And again, this will all get conditioned in a minute, and because it's summertime, it will get really soft really quickly, so I'm not going to precondition it. Whereas if it was winter, I might need to precondition it to get it to soften up to do anything with it. You know what? I may just do the brown. I was going to use the brown as just like a little separating line, but I may... Yeah, no, let me do the brown after, because I don't want to lose my greens. I can't decide. Let me do a tiny bit of brown now. Just like literally a tiny bit. Like this. tiny bit. I can always add more later. Okay, I'm gonna blend this up. And then once that's done, we'll build ourselves a stem to go on here. And you can have more of a brown stem, you can have more of a green stem, you can have pretty much any kind of stem you want. So let me blend this and I'll be back. Okay, so this is my Skinner blend, and I could have taken it further, but I'm okay with the variation in tones. So I just cut it like we did the others, and I stacked it, and I'm just gonna make a long thin strip out of this as well. And I am going to fan fold it. So you saw me do that with these other ones, so I will just do that and I'll be right back. Now the green is a little pure, more pure than I wanted it to be, but I also didn't want, when I made that Skinner blend, I didn't want it to get all really super muddy. So I'm going to take a little bit of this green off, and just like I did with the other one, I'm going to make another Skinner blend with some brown. And that way it didn't get crazy muddy, which I didn't want it to get. I'm going to make a Skinner blend with this. Because sometimes as you're making your Skinner blends, they get really muddy. You know what I mean? You'll know what I mean if it happens to you. So I didn't really want to lose all that green, but I don't want it so pure. So I'm going to make a separate Skinner blend now. And again, it will blend in nicely with that one, because that one's ending on green. And this one will start on green. Oop, what am I doing? I gotta flip it this way. Stomach's growling. Okay, so I'm going to make a little Skinner blend with this, and I'll show you when I'm done. And again, I don't mind if it's not 100% blended, because this is going to be like wood, you know? So it doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. So again, with this, we'll cut it into strips and make it into a long blend as well, and then we'll add it onto the end of this. So then this green should match this green. Here, and then blend into some brown like that. Okay, so we're just going to fan fold this, and it doesn't matter what end you start on, because when you fan fold you'll have two different colors, one on one and one on the other. Really only when you're doing a blended roll will it matter, because then it's either you're dark on the inside or you're light on the inside. So that's the only time it really matters, but in this case it doesn't really matter. I didn't want all this green to get muddy with the brown. Why not have some bright in there, you know? It'll be fun. And it'll contrast the orange and red and yellow we have in our other one nicely. Oh, I think my dog wants to come in. Okay, and then we'll just squish it all down. Hang on, buddy, I'm coming. Okay, now let me go let my dog in, and I will be right back. Okay, I took a little bit of white and rolled it out on the same setting that I ran that through, which was a setting 6. And I'm also going to take a little bit of this brown and mix it with another dark. Let's see, what do I got around here for scraps? Maybe this. I'll take some of this black off just to make it slightly darker than this is translucent in there. Okay. Mix that in with that, and that in with that. And then maybe a little bit of this reddish color that we had. I think I might need a little more black than that. I just want a thin strip, just like that white. Just one thin strip. So let me mix this up. So this is the cowboy with a little bit of black and a little bit of that dark pumpkin color we used. That brownish, reddish color we used for the pumpkin. So let me mix that up and get a little sheet, and I'll be right back with that. I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, what we're going to do is add a little white on one side. That way we have a little pop, a little strip of white. Again, I didn't want to blend it in, I just wanted it a little strip of white there. And then on the other side, we're going to add this little strip of brown. It's slightly darker, but I didn't want it blended in, I just want a strip of it. Just like I would paint a shadow line in between. Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in two. And we're going to put the light on the light and the dark on the dark. Or the light on the light and the dark's on the outside, I should say. We're going to squish that together. Then we're going to cut this in half and put it together again. So I only wanted one strip of the dark because I was going to put it together. And we're going to do this until you get it as fine as you want it. And that's going to vary from person to person on how thick and how thin they want. This is to kind of replicate those ridges that you would get. So that's the point of the ridge, right? The highest part will be this light, and the recesses of the ridge on the sides will be the dark parts. And it's okay if you get distortion. It really is, because each one isn't going to be perfect, you know? Each, like this one doesn't have brown up until there. That's fine. It's a natural stem is what we're trying to create. So, so we're just kind of creating fine layers over and over by sticking them together. See that? We'll do that over and over until it's as fine or as not fine as you want it. Maybe one more time. Maybe I'll put this one next to that short one. You know, because this one's shorter. Put that one next to that one. Yeah. Okay, that will probably be it for me. But you can keep going. And I do have a little waist here. I have this. This is one solid. This is a dark. And then I have this orange. So yeah, I have a little bit. This is just that brown, so that can go back in the brown. You know, but that's not much waste so far. Now I need to decide how, obviously those are way too big. So now comes the reducing. So I want this part to be the showing part. So we're going to reduce this just like we reduce any square, and it's souffle and it's soft, so it's going to be very quick. And then we can shape these however we want to shape them. Let me get rid of half of it because I'm going to make two separate ones. For each pumpkin. Probably something like that. Okay, now it needs to be the height. And we're going to manipulate this some more. So I don't want it that short. So I'm going to take this top and make it a little skinnier. And then I want that to go down in the groove, so this is really small. Make a little indent right here on either side of the V, because I want it to kind of go down into here. I wish I could get my fingers in here to make it a little more pointy. There we go. Make your stem however you want your stem, you know? That'll be fun. Okay, so there's one. It's a fatter one. And then this other one. I still have this too that I could use for something. Later I'll probably find a project to stick that in. This one, let's see. Let's see, how do I want that guy to go? Like that? Maybe we'll just point him. Stick him down in there, like that. Maybe we'll just do that. Make like a tall, skinny one there. On that guy. And then we gotta backfill because we have a stem. We're gonna have to backfill this part. I might only put a thin layer on the outside and make this like a rectangle. So, actually I'll leave that on. So let's see. I have some Pardo still. Let me wipe my hands off. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have some Pardo translucent here first thing I'm going to do is just take it and make a little sausage out of it. Very small sausage. This stuff I want to keep as close to my body as I can because it gets stiff when it gets cold. So these ones I'm going to use to fill in any indents I want to keep for the segments of the pieces. So if I want to keep any of them, that's where I'm going to put these little sausages. Just like the rose. And the bigger the sausage, the bigger the area would be. Okay, like that. And then we do this one too. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Okay, so now I just rolled some out, and I'm going to put it on a thinner setting at first just to get it to get into any nook and cranny I want it to get into. And then I'll do like size 0. I'm just going to cut a strip of this, and all we're going to do is begin wrapping it around. I'm going to start with the stem. I'm just using like a needle tool to kind of get it down next to the stem. And mainly on the sides, I just got to get this to come up here, okay, and as tall as a stem, and then maybe this corner a little bit, and then I can reduce it as like a rectangle. You don't need to have the same amount of thickness of translucent all the way around. You just need pretty much to get it to a basic shape so you don't change your shape. And I could have wrapped the stem before I stuck it on there in translucent. Might have been easier. I wonder if I'm getting sick. I know that's a little skinny, but again, not overly worried about it. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with that one. Then I'll probably watch it in quick mo of how I'm going to just wrap around to build it up. And that will be it for that. I mean, pretty much you just got to make it rectangle, which you'll see if I fast forward it. Okay, so I showed you I was keeping the pardo on my leg to keep it kind of warm, because if it gets cold, for me, this batch is a little crumbly. But here it is in a rectangle, and we'll do probably a square for this one, but the same exact way. Just kind of patch it together and then cut it, and that should work. And we're going to reduce this as like a normal square. And I'm going to fast forward through this again, one, because I'm running out of storage in my phone, and two, because you've seen me reduce things a million times. So I'm going to get this down to whatever size I want it to be, and I will be back. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it this size. Part of it I might reduce down later. Obviously, you should let it rest before you cut, but I'm going to cut it now. Maybe more of it will be, I'll reduce down smaller later. And you can always manipulate your shape. Push in the corners and stuff like that. You can push and pull it. But you see the highlights we put in? Because of the sausages we put, we still got those indents in there. So I think one of them I'm going to leave this size, and then I think the rest of this I'll reduce down to get a smaller one. And you could have, you know, I didn't think about this, but we could have put a shadow in underneath this. Maybe we'll do that on our next one, on this little guy. Okay, so this one's done. You know, but pushing and pulling on your slices, you can really get it to be a long pumpkin, a short pumpkin, a fat pumpkin, whatever you want. See? I think it looks pretty cute, huh? And see how this was the lighter side we made. The lighter center, the darker side. It definitely looks like the light's coming more from this direction. This is obviously the mirror, so it's coming from this direction, but it does look like that to me. I probably would have wanted, if I redid it, this highlight to be a little bigger right here in the middle. But that's that one. So this one, I have some from doing the black lace cane the other day. I have some of the translucent and black scraps, and maybe I will use that to make a shadowed underneath this one. So let me mix this up. This is just black and translucent, the Pardo, and I'll mix it and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm again running out of storage on my phone, but ultimately what I'm going to do here, if you know, this is our pumpkin, right? Usually if a light source is coming from here, underneath you would have a shadow coming out around, right? To make it look like it's off. Now, ideally the shadow would be darkest towards your object, right in here. Be really dark. And then it would get lighter out here, okay? I don't feel like making a Skinner blend with this translucent black, but you could make a Skinner blend with this, with different parts of translucent, kind of like the raindrop. So take like a 50-50 mix of translucent and black, pure translucent, Skinner blend it, and then when we set it on, you would put the black closest to your pumpkin. But I think I'm just going to put a little blend, a little translucent and black blend next to it. Why not? Might be fun. Might not. We'll see. Never done it. So I'm going to taper one end here. Might be a fun illusion. Again, like I said, it might not. So that one's going to be tapered there. And then I'd want to put a little bit of triangle, a little triangle of translucent in here. Okay. Right there. And then we'll fill this like a square as well. Actually, I don't want that sticking out that far. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward again. And backfill this guy the same way we backfilled. I'll start around the stem and then I'll build up and make a rectangle again. You know, and with these, you can always cut some of this translucent off after. You don't need to have this much translucent filling. You know what I mean? If you want to reuse this, you can cut some of this off. And I guess it just depends how much you want. Showing. Okay. So anyways, let me backfill this and I'll fast forward it again. Okay, so I think that's the size I'm going to use because I may put these two on the same project. So I'm going to again cut some of this off because I will reduce some of it smaller, but I'll maybe do this much big and that much small. And these ones I put a different highlight in. I put a long one down the whole length of it. So just play with it and design it however you want. So this is the shadow that we made. You see that? So if I set them in front of each other like that, these are two different pumpkins. Got a little air bubble in there, but that's okay. You know, you could put a leaf, anything you want, you could create. Got a little wonky up here on top, but that's okay. I'm okay with that because I'm the only one that's noticing that little stuff. Here's the other one. My dog's bugging me. See? I think they're very cute. So these are our pumpkins, and we'll use those again with the black lace soon. And then I'll probably take these thicker stacks and reduce them down even more and get smaller ones. But I wanted options, so I can always make it smaller, but you can't really make it bigger. Okay? So this is our pumpkin project. Again, my first pumpkin. I've never really done it before. I'm pretty happy with it for my first pumpkin. You know, next Halloween or next fall, I'll make another one. It probably will come out better. I don't know. Might come out worse. So if this project was helpful for you, it may be helpful for someone else. So please like and share. I am on Facebook. I do now have a Facebook group. It's called Katie's, K-A-T-I-E ''S, Polymer Clay Friends. And please feel free to join that group and show us your wonderful works. And yeah, we would love to see them. So anyways, I will see you guys when we use this in a project. What I'll do is I'll cut the big scrap off, but then I'll take a slice and put that in my book to bake. So I have my future example. Okay guys, see you later.